Ahoy! And welcome to Manning Overboard, Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain, a show about the good in liquid life,
where we talk about bars, bartending, and booze.
She's Hotcakes.
And he's the Captain.
Thanks for coming aboard. Now, let's go overboard. Ahoy, and welcome to Manning Overboard, Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain. I'm the Captain, Rich Manning, and with me as always is my beautiful, lovely, and talented wife, Heather Hotcakes.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm well, how are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Ready to drink?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Well, tell us what we're drinking today then.
All right. Well, as we do, we drink in honor of our guests every time. So, for you, my dear,
Yes.
the very first time we sat in front of this bartender's station, I had just been turned on to the combination of passion fruit and mezcal. And I asked if they had anything similar on the menu, and he said, no, but do you drink Sotol? I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but he made me a beautiful Sotol and passion fruit drink. Now, I don't know what he did with it, so I kind of made my own variation. It was in a coupe. It was beautiful. I still know where the picture is. But for you, I made a Sotol and passion fruit ginger daisy. So it's got passion fruit, Sotol, ginger syrup, a little bit of lime juice, and some club soda.
That sounds fantastic.
Yes, I was pretty happy with it.
But your drink now.
My drink, I love me a dirty martini. And I happen to know that this gentleman made a cocktail that he called the tomatini. And it's got pickled tomatillos. It's got a tomatillo syrup. It's even garnished with a pickled tomatillo. It's got some tequila, some manzanilla sherry, a little bit of mezcal, and a little bit of dry vermouth. And so this is my tomatillo.
That sounds tremendous. Well, wait. Before we do that.
Why don't you introduce our guest?
Yes, we will. See, look at that. I'm getting a little bit better about that. It's now part of our shtick.
It's our shtick.
It is our shtick. So today's guest is Nik Sparks, the general manager at Semiprecious in Denver, Colorado. No, he's not the author, but he has put together an impressive notebook of career achievements in his own rights.
Really?
You see what I did there? Yeah. Hey, he laughed. So, win. So Nick's made his bones in the drinks industry at notable places like the late Great Leanda in Brooklyn, the Ned in Manhattan, and Jewel of the South in New Orleans. Wow. And he is also a writer and a bona fide academic beyond the bar industry. He possesses a legit PhD. Like, we're going to talk about that in a second. And he has served as a guest lecturer at New York University. So if he serves you a drink, just know that you're not the smartest guy in the room. He is. Yeah, he's also one of the nicest people in the room, too. And we're more than happy to have him on our podcast today. So welcome, Nik, to Manning Overboard.
Yay!
Guys, thanks so much for having me. Always lovely to see you both.
Always lovely to see you. What are we drinking?
Today, I am drinking, not very excitingly, our house martini at Semiprecious. It's 2 gins, 2 vermouths, Hayman's Citrus, Dolan Dry, and Blue Stout Blanc. And then I've got my brine on the side.
Oh, beauty.
We love a pickle beer.
We love a pickle beer.
Well,
so
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, too.
Cheers. Nik, this is so good. And now I have the pickled tomatillos, and I've got the brine, and I've got the syrup. Guess who's going to be making myself a few more of these? It's delicious.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. It was a much maligned drink when it first came out, but I know that it's my good friend Leanne Faber, owner of Dolores in Brooklyn, just put a version of that on their menu. So I'm excited to try that one out for BCB.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's great. Well, I also know that when you did your guest shift when Leanna was closing, they actually did specifically say, yeah, that prep time for that tomatini is too insane. We're not going to have that on the menu tonight. So, yeah.
It seems to be a theme in my career. I love heavy prep. Yeah.
No, Rich sent it to me, and I saw the recipe, and this was Friday, and I was like, okay, if I stop now, I can go. I can get the tomatillos brining and get everything done, and it's worth every ounce of prep.
Worth the effort. Oh my goodness gracious!
You guys are so nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're nice too. I mean, and you're a hell of a bartender. And just a bar presence. And that's one of the first questions we have for you is tell us about your journey, because you've had one hell of a journey, friend. Where'd you grow your bones and all that fun stuff?
So I never really had a chance. I grew up in the industry. My mom in the 80s had this, what I barely remember is a really amazing French bistro called Café Maisonette in the Richmond District of San Francisco.
Oh.
And so I was, she was the head chef and the owner, and I grew up in that restaurant. My dad owned a raw bar at the time, Hyde Street Raw Bar, or was a partner there. And, my first jobs were catering. I worked in a pizza restaurant in high school. And as soon as I could, I left and I got away from the industry, and for some reason decided to go into academia.
Okay.
Yeah. So I found myself in bars frequently, but rarely behind the stick.
Sure.
And so for the better part of 10 years, I was between New York and Durham, North Carolina, and New Orleans, just in school, trying to not have a 9-to-5, which I've successfully still never had. Never had a 9-to-5 in my life. It's been amazing. But, I think I finished, I was teaching at NYU. I finished my PhD at Duke. I was teaching at NYU, trying to make ends meet, tutoring rich kids at night after I would lecture. And someday someone just said, "Do you want to start working in my bar?" And, and I was back. I think I made it another year teaching. Then I left for New Orleans, and I taught a little bit after the pandemic because it was remote. It was easy. I didn't have to be there, but it was all hospitality from there, and I was lucky enough that the bartender who had asked me if I wanted to work at her bar sent me a post from this new bar called Jewel of the South that, and I got hired as
just a wee little bar. You might have heard of it. You might have heard
just a little spot. But I mean, my journey, I started as the expo there.
Okay.
Yeah. And they just needed someone who could keep things organized and be abused for 7 hours straight. And that was me. And I finally made over, as a bar assist. And then the pandemic happened and found my way to Leyenda, and the rest is kind of history.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we ended up meeting the first time, was at Leyenda.
I remember.
It was in 2021.
Yeah.
December of 2021. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we sat down and had a fantastic conversation. Like I said, you are partially responsible for my love of smoky and my passion fruit. Yeah. The first bartender who introduced it to me, Will Cutting, who is still in the industry, works up in San Francisco now. He was the one that he pretty much made me a gin mule, a Meehan's gin mule. And then you came along and you were like, how about Satol? I'm like, okay, I don't know. I'm in New York. Let's go. And it was delicious. It was absolutely
funny because you were the first. That was the first Satol cocktail that we had because Satol had just started making inroads into the spirit scene, and I just had done an article, I think, digging into like the violent, bloody history of it, and where it comes from and how it's not necessarily the agave plant because of the spoon. So when I saw all that, I'm like, oh, let's go and see what it's like in the cocktail, and so. It was delicious, so thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I know I was maybe 6 months, 7 months into my time at Leyenda when I met you two. Okay. And I think, those 2.5 years were some of the most, from someone who went to school most of his adult life, were probably the most educational 2.5 years of my life.
Okay.
And that's credit to Ivy. That's credit to Julie, Leanne Favor, Jesse Harris. It's just like that was such an amazing group of human beings. And I was lucky that they were like, hey, you should read about Satol, Ricea. Lenny Kravitz hadn't discovered Satol yet. So the rest of the world hadn't gotten to see it on a billboard, but and then I got to serve great folks like you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And like Heather said, R.I.P. Leyenda. I mean, that was such an incredible bar, and I'm very happy to see, you mentioned Leanne and then Ivy mix doing their own thing. Leanne with Dolores and Ivy with Whoopsie Daisy and Fiasco. It's just really cool to see that footprint. And of course, that all goes back to Julie Reiner. And just absolutely incredible.
So you mentioned that those were some of the most learning years of your adult life. How do you think your academic background impacts your viewpoint as a bartender and a bar manager?
Patience.
Okay.
Understanding failure,
right,
as like an intimate part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
I think so much of my time in graduate school and getting a doctorate, finishing my dissertation, even being I guess you could call me a professor, I guess. An adjunct.
You're a professor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but a lot of that is just patience, graciousness, and understanding that at the end of the day, what we're doing is important, but it's a part of a much larger thing, right? And I think the way I try to manage here, especially at Semiprecious, which is trying to steer the ship while building it, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I love an opening. I did 4 openings in 2 years, and Semiprecious is the only one I made it more than a year at.
Okay.
I think again, it's patience, it's grace, it's understanding that people are trying their best, and at the end of the day, it's the little things that may feel so overwhelming or so important or might devastate us are actually just a microcosm of what we're trying to accomplish, right? And
Sure.
that every mistake and every failure is just an opportunity to grow and build on.
Right.
I mean, Heather, I think we've always bonded about being teachers, educators. Yeah. Like, I'm sure you understand this better than I do with the ages you work with. It's like things feel so monumental when they fail, and it's hard to give ourselves credit when we succeed, right, unless you have a robust social media following. But as human beings, it's really hard. Yeah.
The being able to, okay, if that didn't work, pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and go again. As a teacher, I see that in me. I see that in my students. Resilience and grit, I think, are the 2 biggest takeaways I have from my entire teaching career. Is if you can get yourself back up and you can get through the resilience of it all, then life will be, I'll be able to send these little birdies out into the world and they'll be able to pick themselves up when I'm not around. And that's a huge piece of the puzzle for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess the last thing I would say is that I joked a little bit about this working at Jewel as an expo, but like I've been abused like psychologically, both in academia and hospitality. And it really told me, it's like, this is not the type of manager or person I want to be.
Sure.
So it's I think I try to lead with kindness and generosity because it's the golden rule, right? But I think it also makes it a much more pleasant place to be,
100%. And
absolutely.
Like, we connected almost immediately. I mean, you've been in our lives now for the better part of 5 years. And it wasn't just in New York that you were in our lives. Like we have popped in, we've been in places together, and we seem to be drawn together. Like you're there.
You're just there, and your presence just radiates. It's like, and I think part of that is just because you have such an honest approach to hospitality. You're one of the most honest people as far as like their approach and their outlook in the industry goes, and I think that radiates. And that leads to my next question: is how much does your experience as a professor and a lecturer help you retain that honesty and that comfort level with not only with staff but with the guests?
Man, I don't want to give that time in my life too much credit, but I think the reason why I wanted to be a teacher, and I think it's probably why I wanted to study the things I studied, was I had a very romantic outlook on life when I was younger, right? And I thought that doing things that you love could equate to changing the world or could impact people in very simple and straightforward ways just by simply doing what you love, right? And you realize unfortunately, as you get older, that it's slightly more complicated than that. But what I've tried to do, both as a teacher and as someone who operates and spends so much time in a bar, is to understand that it doesn't have to be these big, grand moments of understanding or change or metamorphosis or radical, like, for, it doesn't have to be radical. It just has to be kind, right? It just has to be generous of spirit. And, it's at Semiprecious, it's like, we only really have two rules here, right? And I think it came from my time teaching. It's that everyone is welcome here. Number two is, it's our job to keep people safe.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone threatens number two, they're disqualified from number one, right? And that was sort of the ethos of the classroom as well, right? It's like, should be a space for people to work through things. A bar should be a space where people can come together. If people don't want to come together, that's okay. You just, I think that there's the parallels are there. I try not to think of them as so easily collapsible as like that I can do the same thing in both, or I can do the same thing here that I did while I was teaching. But there's definitely some of that there. And I think a lot of it, again, like back to that idea that I spent so much time figuring out how I wanted to relate to people, educate, speak in the classroom. Because I became a professor when I was 29,
Okay.
30. I barely knew who I was.
Right.
Now I'm going to turn 40 at BCB, and I feel like I have a slightly better grip on that and how on myself and how I'd like to relate to people, and that comes out in the bar.
Absolutely. It's figuring out the needs of people and being able to approach them in a way that you can meet their needs. You can keep them safe. You can provide a space for them and do it in a way that is kind and compassionate, regardless of what they're going through. And that matters. Yeah. In society today, that matters almost is paramount,
It's kind of like that, cutting down to the what's that, the hierarchy of needs, the Maslow's or hierarchy of
Laszlo?
needs.
Yeah, Maslow's.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that's really at the core of bartending. I've found that that's kind of what a bartender does, and what the hospitality is when it's optimized, is really hitting that hierarchy of needs and making sure the guests are safe with that.
Yeah.
So,
well, the good ones, right? Like the good bartenders. I think I always tell my staff, and I try to remind myself, that people will be a lot more forgiving of a bad drink than they will a bad attitude, right?
100%. Yeah.
I've made some terrible dealer's choices, but I don't think I've ever been rude to anyone, in a bar. I mean, I probably have, but you know what I mean? Like, those are the things I try to remember.
Right.
People like the way they feel in your bar. They're more likely to come back.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. No, we talk about it all the time that you can go to a top 10 bar, a Michelin star restaurant. You can have great drinks and great food, but if the hospitality isn't there, it's a one and done.
Yeah.
It's a one and done.
That's a no for me, dog. Yeah.
I can check it off and be like, okay, been there, done that, but I have no reason to go back. We go back to the places where we feel safe, where we feel a sense of community, and where we understand that the hospitality is going to be so much better than what it is down the street, who might have better cocktails or might have a better standing. Yeah.
And that goes with the classic ethos of a bar's the third space, right? It's like eventually you don't necessarily go there for the drinks. You go there because, hey, Nick's working tonight, or Mike's working tonight, or, etc. Just whoever. And that's really when a bar becomes that third space, really becomes that home. And again, it gets back to meeting that person's needs.
Yeah.
So you have now worked, you worked in New Orleans for a little bit, but you worked in Brooklyn, and that space, that area in Brooklyn where you guys were at, it's a great hub. It still is a great hub of great cocktails.
Carroll Gardens is pretty incredible.
Right.
It's an embarrassment of riches, honestly.
Right.
So you've got Clover Club across the street. You've got Grand Army up the street on State.
Mm-hmm.
Toby's Bar, Long Island Bar.
Yep.
Brooklyn Social,
Sunken
just-
Sunken
Harbor.
Harbor Club. in the
oh my
Asian
God, yeah,
corner,
Sunken Harbor
you know,
Club.
Yeah. So it's an incredibly congested, in the best way possible, area to be drinking in. You have now moved to, it's the Rhino, right?
We're on the north side. We're closer to Stewart and Sean at Lady Jane and
Yeah.
Ox and Williams and Graham.
But
Yeah,
again,
Rhino's across the highway.
talk
Yeah.
about a highly well concentrated group. You've got Occidental, you got Williams and Grants, you got Lady Jane. We had Stuart on the podcast a couple months ago, but
Yeah.
a while back. But it's a highly concentrated area. How effective is it as a somebody who works at the bar? How important is it to have those options for your drinkers, and how hard is it to send them on their merry way?
Well, oh, sorry, Heather.
No, I was going to say, when you know that you know, maybe they are new in the neighborhood, maybe they're a tourist and what have you, and you'd love to have them sit at the bar, but also you want them to experience everything else that's out there.
I mean, I think the community, the hospitality community in Denver, it's an embarrassment of riches right now. And I say that with, it's everything, right? I mean, not to toot our horn too loudly, but 3 bars from Denver made it on the regional top 10 for best new bar for Tails, right? And at Peach Crease, Rougarou. But being able to, and I learned this from Chris Hanna, actually. I would watch him do this. When people would come, because New Orleans is such a transient city and like people are coming to visit, and obviously they go to Jewel to see him and everyone else. That team's so incredible now, it was incredible then. He would take the time, he'd just sit down and he would write a list for people.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, you've got to go see my friend at so-and-so. You've got to go to Canaan Table. You've got to go to Manolito. You've got to go to Carousel Bar. And being able to say, you got to go to Peach Crease Club. You got to go to Lady Jane. You got to go to Williams and Graham, and just basically pass people between friends. Right. Because I know that they'll also give the same hospitality that we gave. Right.
Right.
And if I don't think they will, I won't send them there.
Exactly.
But it's so important. And I think, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier about every change doesn't have to be a big change, right? Or like every impact or effect doesn't have to be big. It's like you get the people in front of you for the time you have them, right? And then you get to send them off with the best of intentions, right? So if I send someone over to Stuart or Tammy at Lady Jane, I know their great night's going to continue. And I think that's just like really, and it's 8 blocks away. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that happens more organically, or do you think that is something that how does that happen? How does that community build up?
Great question. Because sometimes I'm suspicious of it too, right? Like I think that sometimes I always worry about being overly performative, right? As a bartender, as a hospitality professional, as a human being. But something I've noticed about Denver, and I've only been, my partner and I moved here for her work, and I just lucked into this job, right? Who knew that Mike Capaferri of Thunderbolt was opening a bar in Denver, not me. And at first I was like, oh, we're just getting all this love because of Mike, right? And but Mike doesn't live here. And so after a while I was just like, oh, this is real. This is how people show up for each other here. Mm-hmm. And it's Mary McLean from Yacht Club, Stuart, Scott, Stuart's partner, Sean Kenyon. They didn't have to do Alex Jump, partner Stuart. Like they didn't have to be this kind, but they are. Yeah. And it's one of the it's something that made the transition to Denver, a place that neither my partner or I had any real connection to, so much easier.
Sure.
It's just people want everyone to succeed here. And I know that, I was very lucky to be in a great community in New York, but it's not ubiquitous. Like people love to talk shit. People love to root for failure.
Sure.
For whatever reason, that doesn't happen the same way here. I mean, there's always something, but I think the genuineness of the care that people have for the community and wanting to be as excited. They want their guests to be as excited about, Peach Crease has this drink called the Fatouche Martini. It's just insane. And we have a sour cream and onion. And I'm like, if someone loves a sour cream and onion martini here, I'm like, you got to go to Semiprecious. It's because we genuinely all love what we're doing here. And it's really, so to that extent, I think it's really organic. I mean, there's probably some facade and performativity, but for the most part, people genuinely care. And there's really cool stuff happening here.
That's awesome.
That's great.
I mean, cool. We feel it when we go there. It's amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
And so I would imagine then that because of that hospitality, there wasn't a huge like adjustment period or like culture shock, like what's going on here, or was there, because you didn't have that competitiveness, you didn't have that rooting against people or what have you.
Well, for me personally, I had like a weird adjustment period, right? Like my partner went to work immediately and I just kind of hung out with our dogs, and I would drive her to work in the morning and pick her up, but like, or she would get a ride home, and, I'd have my first glass of wine by 3:00. I would have this really, so my days were very different, and I kind of had a chance to reset, and I very like gingerly went out to bars, right? Like I wasn't trying to like make any kind of, I wasn't trying to hit every bar immediately. I was trying to like tend to our home life. But every place I went, it's like Kitty from Paradise Lost popped up at Hell or High Water Tiki. And I met that crew and they were amazing. I went to Yacht Club for the first time and I walked in and Hank was bartending. And you guys know Hank, who's now in Newport, Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Like I just kept meeting all these incredible people, but I didn't have an agenda necessarily. And I wasn't like kind of
trying to put your foot into places where,
No, not at all. I was like, I kept joking, but not really. I was like, maybe I'll just bartend at like a Chili's, just like do the lunch shift.
Yeah.
Take care, like be home by 8, be with the dogs and Christine. But then, of course now I'm working 70 hours a week and it's fine. But, I think I get bored so easily. This place has definitely kept my attention. And I think, I think I've lost the plot on your original question, but
that's okay.
That's all right. That was a great answer, nonetheless.
House martini.
But speaking of plots, that actually teed up the next question beautifully. So, fun story. First time I met you, I didn't realize your name was Nik because your social media profile had you listed as Oscar.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, you're Oscar. Like, no, my name is Nik. And then you connected the dots. Oh, yeah, Nik Sparks, the notebook guy. So that makes sense. So, and I know that's kind of why you did that. How much confusion does your name give people these days?
Well, you mean the Oscar part?
Yes.
Or
just, you're like, no, I'm not. I'm a writer, but I'm not the notebook writer.
Yeah. So I've been fighting that battle for 20 years now.
Right.
Because I think I was a freshman when the Ryan Gosling movie came out.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I got to college, everyone had the notebook, but for social media purposes, I was like, well, Oscar is my maternal great grandfather's name.
Okay.
So, and it's my middle name. So I was like, well, Oscar Sparks. But it became this kind of running joke to me so many people have done it. And it's fine because I'm so indifferent about people knowing my name, especially if like, me, I'm just like, whatever, it's fine. Call me whatever you want. But it got to a point where I was like, well, I don't want people to feel embarrassed. So I just changed my social media bio to my name is Nik. I understand the confusion. Like it was happening in like very inopportune times, like professional settings, where someone's like, "Oh, hey," to this group of 10 like press people, or like, "This is Oscar." It's like, "Oh shit, am I going to embarrass this like very bartender and correct them, or am I just going to let it slide and like, So, but also Nicholas Sparks is not that good of a guy. I'm sorry, he's like a really bad guy.
Yeah.
There's like been multiple lawsuits about like not allowing, like anti-Semitic racist shit. Mm-hmm. So I also was like, I don't want to be Nicholas Sparks in the world sometimes. It's, the older women of a certain generation and bank tellers love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. So for a while, or at least since I've known you, there seems to have been like a little pocket of time where you went full board into competitions, and you landed in a lot of finales. But did you ever were you able to cross the finish line on any of I don't remember you being able to cross the finish line. Okay, so
I could never bring it home.
And I'm trying not to bring up soreness, but going back to even the process, even the concept, even putting yourself out there, what did you learn in those situations about yourself?
I learned that I can still, so I should say I've been very lucky. I have not entered a ton of competitions, but the ones I have, it's like, I got to go to Brazil. I got to go to Guadalajara. Like it was things where I was like, I don't go after competitions just for the sake of doing it. I'm not like a naturally competitive person.
Right.
I actually like quite don't enjoy competition much at all. But when something is interesting to me, or like something is a particular challenge, then I'm like, oh, that's curious, right? Like I was recently, I'm sure this is probably maybe what you're referring to. I was a finalist for the Tohono Society, which is the Altos Tohono Society
There's
gold
that one. Yeah.
competition. And I got to go to Guadalajara and like be around all these incredible people who were just so smart and so talented. And you know, the person who ended up winning was just like such an amazing project. But yeah, the process of sort of having an opportunity to learn something new or learn something about my own way of putting things together, whether it's drinks or ideas, was what's always really attractive to me.
Okay.
I really don't like things, and this is I have someone who is going to start working for us who's at Speed Rack right now.
Okay.
And I have not Speed Rack, World Class. But Speed Rack, holy shit. You know, the Denver winner was part of our opening team, Sid. And it's those kind of things I'm just like so blown away by, but it's just not for me. Obviously I'm not eligible for Speed Rack, but like competitions that are like timed under the wire, nah. But the opportunity to like take time, like I rarely, like I'm spending a month on that like proposal.
Yeah.
Right. I really like those processes, and I like thinking through, okay, here's a specific Brazilian gin. How am I going to make this profile work? Like it's why I loved art and why I taught like art history so much in all my courses. Because I love figuring out how things go together. Right. But the competing itself, I hate. It's probably why I hold like a lawn chair every time. I get up there and I'm just like, oh yeah, this is the thing that I'm doing. Thank you for bringing me to Brazil. Bye. I'm sure they love. But yeah, I had a really great run, and now I'm sort of the mind that, especially in like the Denver community, I get asked to compete, or I get asked to submit to a lot of competitions, but I feel like I'm at that place where I should be passing those opportunities on to my bartenders. And, you know, I'm primed for the judge's chair, or just not at all, you know? So but yeah, it was a nice run. It was cool.
Yeah. Because knowing you, I don't see you as a competitive person, but I can see how the drive for the storyboarding, the thoughtfulness that comes with the competition itself is what draws you kind of to it. And
kind of almost like the academic process.
Exactly.
Of that.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but yes, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's right. One question I did have, because I know that, like I alluded to at the beginning, that you have a PhD, but I don't know what your PhD is in.
So I have a PhD. I got my PhD in the English department at Duke.
Okay.
I have terrible grammar and terrible spelling. So it's very much when I entered that program, I had just completed a master's at Columbia in African American Studies. And all of my work had been on New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I was a junior or sophomore in college, when Katrina happened.
Okay.
Right. So 2005. And I had just been, and this is how I know that like I was kind of always destined for hospitality, right? Like there was a sense of service and like just commitment to New Orleans as a place, right? And New Orleans as a collection of communities. And so I had done my thesis at Columbia on the visual culture of Katrina, right? Which is like basically the way in which images circulated during and after, right? To sort of tell all these different narratives, both good and bad. And by the time I got to Duke, I was doing similar stuff, right? But I moved it back a century. And so a lot of my work was around how hospitality and notions of community at the end of the 19th century were just so important to what New Orleans was and what it became. So I was in English program, but I was really doing something like at the intersection of African American studies, Black studies. This is more of a global conception, visual culture, and feminist theory. So and archives. Like I just love going to a library and just sitting there. I spent I spent a lot of time in the New Orleans Public Library. Yeah.
But that's great, though.
Just feeding your brain. Yeah. Amazing.
Knowledge is power, man. So, I mean, just, and you're obviously using your power for good in a industry which, at its best, is a very, very good industry. And it's a noble industry, and it's a necessary industry in society.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. No,
we're
really lucky.
How do you push back on the people who, particularly for, I mean, you said you're almost 40. How do you push back from the general public when they ask certain bartenders, "Oh, so no, really, what's your job? What's your goal in life? What do you want to be?" Because today, I mean, obviously, Rich and I believe that bartending is a noble job. There is grace and poise and knowledge and education and a set of skills that you have to have in order to be successful. But there are still those people who are like, it's not a real job. How do you push back on that?
Yeah. I mean, luckily I'll say it hasn't happened a lot recently, which I hope is a sign of a broader understanding of what hospitality is, like from a professional standpoint. I think I've been really lucky in the sense that both of my parents instilled me a sense that like your work is good no matter where it is.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I know, I know what I do here and I know what my bartenders do here. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I will say, along with all the aches and pains of age is if you're lucky, the belief and the resilience that like you can just not give a shit what people think.
Sure. Right.
Mm-hmm. So, and the PhD is a pretty good trump card. But usually I just say, it's like, I try to be generous in those moments. People are like, well, is this, I think people look at me compared to my bartenders and they know that better than to ask me what I want to be when I grow up.
For sure. Yeah.
Because I'm grown up. When I think that to answer the actual question that you asked me, Heather, I think my answer is always circulating somewhere around like I'm doing exactly what I want to do because it enables me to pursue my interests, right? Which is around education. It's around hospitality. It's around travel. It's around being around people.
Yeah.
I think as someone who has never had any interest in a 9-to-5 job, much to my detriment, probably long term, but I try to be generous in those moments. And if people don't get it, I don't have the time.
Sure.
I don't have the energy to convince someone that what we do is work.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or valuable. But I think we're really, and I'll say this about Semiprecious at least, and that because I haven't worked anywhere else in over a year now, in Denver at large, like people don't ask those questions of us right now, which feels great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Flip side, they are currently trying to lower the tip minimum wage in Denver. Right. Yeah. So that's another version of, is this a real job?
Correct. 100%.
Yeah.
So it's like at the level of the everyday, don't experience it that much, but we're still fighting that at the level of policy.
Correct.
Right? Like should a bartender be making $16.21 an hour? It's like, yeah, they should probably be making way more than that.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't blame your crumbling economy on tipped workers.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Right. Like, in Louisiana, I think I made like $3 an hour.
Yeah. Well, I know in a previous life I was involved with payroll, and I remember back then in the aughts, the late aughts, Tefra was $2.13. That was the federal limit, and that just blew me away. It's like, how can somebody subsist with that? Particularly if you're in a situation where you're in a restaurant or a bar where it's all shared tips, pool tips.
Yeah.
No, I loved my time at Jewel, but I had to, I was bartending raves at the Orpheum Theater afterward. It's like
to make ends meet. Yeah.
It's a reality that we all understand, right? But yet we still choose this profession.
Right.
Because I think it's fulfilling in other ways if it's not financially fulfilling. And that's why I think we see so much of this rising tide around trying to have conversations about labor, wages, support in the hospitality industry, right? It's incredibly important, even if it doesn't look the same everywhere.
Correct.
Right? It doesn't have to, but to dismiss things out of pocket because, A, it's never happened, or B, it's just bartending.
Right.
That's all right. I guess you guys found a nerve. But it's true, right? Like, I think people maybe know better now than to ask, like, what's your real job?
Yeah.
But they still feel that intrinsically, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is not real labor.
It's just systemic, for sure.
Yeah. And it's really ignorant of the history of bartending in bars and third spaces anyway, just because back then, you as an academic and a bar manager would have been the ideal person, because bartenders were kind of like the unofficial mayor of the city. They were the orators. They were where they knew everything and everyone, and you kind of kept your beat on what the zeitgeist was at that time. You were important. And people that don't recognize that you and your background, Nick, has a direct through line to what that was a century ago, or more than a century ago, because that would be
more. It's 2026.
Yeah.
It's wild.
But you know what I mean?
We don't have to talk about
20
it.
years ago. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
No. But that's why a city like New Orleans has had some of the most famous bartenders in the world, right? It's like, I can't name, but that's all to say, like, a place like New Orleans understands and appreciates, not to say that other cities don't, but there's a particular appreciation built into the fabric of that city for hospitality.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's one of the most beautiful things like I've ever experienced in a place that I've lived. Right. I've never felt more generous than I have when I lived in New Orleans, or when I'm in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not just because we're all at Tails and we're drunk. Right. It's like, if I go there in January, I feel the same as I do in July.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
To lighten the mood and leave us in a little higher space, tell me about your dogs, because they show up on your Instagram all the time, and you guys are you do a lot of fostering now, right?
We do a ton of fostering, which has been amazing. We have no surprise to no one, we have more space in Denver.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so my dog is Jolene. Her name's Jolene. She's, no offense to Christine, my partner and my love, but Jolene's the love of my life. And she is just like the sweetest, doofiest Australian Shepherd Lab mix. Like, maybe, I don't know. I've never paid the $100 for the kit.
Sure.
But I adopted her during the pandemic. I was working at Lambda, and just like, it was this pandemic, and like, it sucked.
Sure.
And there was just a real run on dogs, and this, unfortunately, but someone reached out and was like, hey, we have this dog. I've never had a dog, never had one growing up.
Really?
So I grew up in San Francisco with a single mom. So but she had just had a litter of puppies and had been on the Drew Barrymore show, and they all got adopted. It was a pandemic, weird time.
It was a very weird time.
And so I got them through this rescue called Louis. I got her through this rescue called Louis Legacy. And she just she's become my best friend. And we go everywhere together. And yeah, so Jolene is incredible. I don't know how old she is. I don't care. She's forever young. And then my partner has a dog who's like a terrier, chihuahua, unknown mix.
Muddy mix. Yep.
Chloe. And also from Louis' Legacy. And she had a similar thing. She adopted it during the pandemic. And then when we met, our dogs met and they became best friends. And I was like, okay, so that's check. Good to go. And they've just they have blossomed so much in Denver. We lived on Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn, which is not the most ideal spot for a dog or a human necessarily. But now, since coming to Denver, a really great way we've been able to engage in the community beyond hospitality is fostering dogs. And so we actually just got one yesterday, Woody 2. We already had it. But he's just this tiny little chihuahua from New Mexico. And I guess I'm a small dog guy. But,
okay.
Well, that was good.
Christine volunteers with this agency called A Friend of Jack. We've hosted a fundraiser for them, and we're doing it quarterly.
Love that.
Peach Crease has also done something with them. And it's just, I love animals and I love dogs so much more than humans. Really,
they give you hope for humanity, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They give me hope for the planet. I don't know about humanity.
Right. Fair.
But they, it's been a really amazing way to bring the platform that we are lucky enough to have. We haven't even touched on this, but we're Thunderbolt Sister Bar. And so there's been so many eyes on us because of that. I just, we hosted an adoption event and a toy drive, and our entire back booth was full of toys by the end. Amazing. And we raised $4,000 for them. It was incredible. And so dogs are, we have firmly chosen dogs over kids.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
And I couldn't be happier.
Well, good.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
Fair. Yes.
Alrighty.
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Oh gosh, yeah. Sorry, we're getting close.
No, that's okay.
No, that's all right.
No.
It was just such a pleasure talking with you, man. Seriously. So.
Yeah. You got to do your thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, I thought that was yours.
No, that one's yours.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're the one that asked the question.
Well, I do ask the questions, but you usually set it up.
Oh,
see,
okay.
We're still. Yeah. He doesn't remember.
You guys are doing great.
Yeah. Blame COVID. So we are coming to the end of our show and our time together. But before we say our goodbyes, Heather has a few final questions that she's going to throw at you. And this is really what we call the last call questions, because we just imagine we're sitting at Semiprecious or Leanda, back in the day, to make it more real.
But we want Semiprecious because we
Semi-precious.
Right. Well, we can't do Leanda anymore.
For Semiprecious.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
so
you guys got to get out
doing
here.
this intro. So we're sitting at your bar, Semiprecious.
Maybe I'm wrong.
And we're sitting at your home city for the first time, in your case, Denver, and happy hour is coming to a close. So Heather, take it away.
All right. So question number 1. It's early enough in the evening. We are finishing our drinks here at Semiprecious. Where are we going next? I think I know the answer, but where should we head next for a good cocktail?
So, like I said before, it's an embarrassment of riches right now in Denver. And I think there's so many bars that are getting so much love and the drinks are fantastic. It's I could send you to Lady Jane, send you Williams Graham, Occidental, Peach Crease Club, Yacht Club. But there's a small little bar, and none of those would be wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But there's a small little bar out in a suburb of Colorado, Aurora, in this kind of suburban complex called Stanley Marketplace. It's called Traveling Mercies.
Okay.
Oh.
And it's the upstairs bar of Annette, Scratch the Table, a really phenomenal restaurant. They were James Beard nominated a couple years ago.
Okay.
And so is Caroline, the head chef Caroline. Phenomenal food there. But Traveling Mercies might be one of the best bar experiences I've had in maybe the last 5 years, right? It's just
amazing.
They have this. They also have a house martini, which inspired my building of our house martini, and it's a raw bar, and a cocktail bar. And it's just this stunning view of the Rocky or the Front Range. And it's tiny. It's maybe 18 seats, 20 seats.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. Just like every drink is incredible. John doing the program there now. Zach, who did the program before. Like it's just, everything's incredible there. The food is great. The vibes are great. And it's just unexpected. And I think that like it's a bar that I would send anyone to.
Amazing.
That's
It's now top on the list.
Sold.
All right. Who's got a good burger?
So, okay, I have a caveat here.
Sure.
So I stopped eating meat
Oh.
when I moved to Denver, after I moved to Denver.
Okay.
So, but I ate meat while I was here. I ate meat for a long time. If you're going out for a burger, Williams and Graham. They have God bless Sean Kenyon. Satan bless Sean Kenyon.
Yeah.
They have an industry burger that's like just the perfect patty, incredible every time, and malt vinegar fries. And like after a long shift, long day, it's perfect.
It's what you
If you're not in the industry, please don't ask for it. It's gonna come back to me. But the burgers at Williams and Graham are incredible. But the industry burger, if you're a bartender, if you're hospitality, like go get it. It's like $10 or something. It's so dumb. But it's incredible. Now,
Right.
if you're plant-based, go to Gladys in Sloan's Lake. It's a plant-based restaurant. It's incredible. Everything is great. The burger's great. They have like a beet pastrami Reuben, way above my pay grade. But I'm as someone who gave up meat recently after 15 years, I have been perpetually underwhelmed by vegetarian options.
Okay.
Gladys, A+, 100%.
All right.
Excellent.
Good to know.
All right. I know this one's going to be hard because you are in just the... You've got an afternoon to kill. I have a free afternoon. What am I going to do in Denver?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You got to go to the Denver Botanic Gardens. That's where we're
I'm
starting.
glad you said that because I was
Love
hoping
that.
you would say
Love
that.
that,
Yes,
love that
it's
place.
so beautiful.
We live very close to Botanic Gardens. Have a family pass. So actually, we get 4 tickets anytime. So next time you guys are in town,
Okay.
let's grab some mini wine bottles and like go to the Botanic Gardens.
Oh, sold.
Sold.
Yeah.
So you got to do that. It's just incredible. They don't let dogs in, unfortunately. They let kids in, but
That's their first.
it's just like it's a great way to like experience kind of, I don't know. It's been a really helpful place since moving here. Afternoon. So like, okay, if you're catching a late lunch, you got to go Stowaway.
Okay.
Okay.
In Rhino. Australian food, but like just unbelievable. Everything I've ever had there is excellent. If you're going for, and I'm assuming geography doesn't matter because we're hopping all over.
Sure.
Not at all.
New bar hotel concept on Colfax just opened up called Fino.
Okay.
Sister bar to Run for the Roses.
Okay.
Okay.
Incredible aperitivo, like apero, like just go there for a spritz or a glass of wine. Incredible wine list. If I'm going from there, I'm probably going to dinner at Rougarou.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Rougarou is great.
Marion McLean's new restaurant. I can't say enough about it. Like the way people talk about, they also opened it with Mary's brother, John
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Mhm.
The way people talk about the drinks at Yacht Club, they will talk about it. They already do talk about the food at Rougarou.
Okay.
Gotta go.
That's
Never had
great.
anything bad there. After that, if I want something a little vibey, a little dancey, probably gonna go downtown. If there's a game, I'm definitely swinging into the Rocky, like see a baseball game.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Pro note, get there an hour early, go to the Silver Bullet Bar. Coors Lights are $3 until
All right.
first pitch.
Wow. Doesn't
Maybe go to-
Peaches also have a window there as well?
No, not, so they're closer to Yacht Club
Okay.
downtown. They're right on Mission Ballroom.
Okay.
So get dinner. Let's just say there's no Rockies game. I'm going to Peach Crease. I'm getting a Fatouche martini. I'm sitting on the little patio and just like enjoying the beautiful Denver weather.
Sure.
Probably having 1 or 2 drinks more than I planned to there. Because
Fair.
because Alex and Stuart are just like mad geniuses.
They're
And
Oh,
everything
absolutely.
yes.
is so delicious, and like every chance I get, I send people there. If I have time, I'm also hitting Lady Jane and for an Amaro or a martini, because Stuart Weaver is also a mad genius.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
But then I'm ending the night at Pon Pon.
Is that where you're getting your beer and your shot?
Oh, I don't know. No, Pon Pon is where I'm getting my loose cigarette. And
All right.
it's where I'm getting my loose cigarette from the vending machine. I don't know if that's legal. Sorry, Jordan. And probably like a beer and a soda water.
All right.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's a very long day in Denver, but I have done that route many times in some version or another.
You know what? I love it, and you hit everything else that
I do
I
have one question then.
You do.
It's very interesting because you did answer the rest of the questions, but I need to find out, where do you go for breakfast in Denver?
Oh, I don't eat breakfast.
Okay.
Fair.
Fair.
All right.
Fair.
Well, wait. No, that is not true at all. I have had, because I've been living at the bar. We just had our 1-year anniversary, so I've been living at the bar planning this party. If I'm having breakfast, I'm going to Chiladas on oh my gosh, it's our cross street. Chiladas on north side of Denver. They have a breakfast burrito takeaway menu. Everything's like $6 to $8.
Wow.
I get the chili relleno burrito more often than I'm proud to admit.
Sure.
And it's delicious. And
as a
$8.
vegetarian, it's a great option.
It really is, yes.
Fantastic. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right.
If I am getting a beer,
Oh, no, go ahead.
sorry. If I'm getting a beer and a shot, I'm going to PS Lounge, by the way.
Where's
Heather,
that?
you had asked that.
Yeah.
PS Lounge is on Colfax, and it is it's a sight to be seen.
Fair.
Where anyone who walks in gets an Alabama Slammer on the house.
Okay,
Wow.
then.
And if you're female presenting, you get a rose.
Okay.
All right.
And
Alrighty.
then they have great bottled beer.
Bottled
Beer
beers
in a bottle is absolutely the way to go.
absolutely important. So yeah.
So thank you for taking the time. I didn't even realize, I didn't know that you guys were going through all of your anniversary. Congratulations on 1 year. 1 year is amazing.
Oh, no.
Congratulations
Yeah,
on
very,
that.
very good. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much
Yeah, it was
For everything you do for the industry.
for taking the time out to chat with us. We adore you, and we look forward to seeing you. We get to see you in like 4 weeks. This is taping right before BCB. So 4 weeks BCB is in town.
Yeah.
So we will celebrate your birthday.
And in the meantime,
we'll be doing a lot of BCB stuff. So, and some fun Denver BCB stuff too. So
Ooh,
keep
fun.
your eye.
good.
Heard.
We will try to hit all the things.
Excellent. Amazing.
But in the meantime,
If people want to follow you, where can they find you on the Instas?
You can find me at apparently my poorly named Instagram, Oscar_Sparks. You can also find out, you can see me in the background of a lot of photos at Semiprecious Drinks,
Yeah.
all right.
which is the bar Instagram.
Which I can't wait to go to.
Yeah. We're gonna be
we are
there.
overdue
Yeah,
for
we're
a
chomping at the bit.
Denver trip.
Yeah.
Overdue.
And remember, the people, we can be found, Heather and I can be found at Manning Overboard on Instagram at Manning Overboard. Or
At
just
gmail.com.
email us at manningoverboard@gmail.com for questions and comments. So thank you so much for tuning in again. We look forward to joining us on our next happy hour. Cheers.
Thanks so much, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Cheers.
Always a pleasure, sir.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Manning Overboard, Happy Hour with Hotcakes and the Captain is produced and distributed by Eats Drinks TV.
A service of the nonprofit Center for Culinary Culture, home of the cocktail collection,
The Center for Culinary Culture,
telling the story of food and drink, one taste at a time.